Hi everyone, my name is Anuska and I'm Vanier's RespectWorks advisor. I'm here to help cultivate caring and equitable working spaces by facilitating with departments, raising awareness to help prevent sexual violence, harassment, and discrimination, and supporting complaint resolution procedures.
My name is Khadija Campbell and I'm the Social Service Officer for Sexual Violence Prevention and Response in Student Services. My role is to provide support for any student who has been impacted by sexual or gender-based violence on or off campus.
And lastly, I'm Kallie and I'm the Human Resources Services Administration Officer, which means I coordinate the sexual violence prevention and response training for staff and faculty. Today, we'd like to talk to you about the importance of cultivating consent on campus, outreach activities for sexual violence education and prevention, and resources available for those impacted by sexual violence. So, why is sexual violence so important to talk about?
Studies on sexual violence in Canada and the United States estimate that about 15 to 25% of female students, 6.1% of male students, and 24% of transgender, genderqueer, and questioning students in colleges and universities experience some form of sexual assault. About half of these incidents of sexual violence that occur on campus involve alcohol or other substances. More often than not, the survivor victim has a friendship or other form of relationship with the person who sexually assaults them. Sexual violence is actually happening much more often than these numbers account for, since only about 1 in 20 incidents of sexual assault are reported to the police. Clearly, sexual violence is a prevalent issue impacting so many people in higher education. That's why Vanier and other post-secondary institutions are working very hard to cultivate consent culture on campus.
What is consent? Consent involves mutual, enthusiastic, voluntary agreement to participate in a sexual activity and can be given and withdrawn at any time. Consent is free and informed, meaning that we need to be able to give consent without feeling coerced and without the influence of factors that could make it impossible to give valid consent, such as when there are certain power dynamics at play or when under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
When we talk about cultivating a culture of consent on campus, we each have a role to play to ensure this ongoing active effort. We can be aware of sexual violence and support community awareness to break the silence and taboos around this issue. We can recognize our collective responsibility to support the safety of our college community. We can turn to college policies to keep ourselves informed of our rights and responsibilities, as well as be mindful of how our different lived experiences and positionalities influence our relationships. We want to cultivate mutual respect in these relationships at all times and intervene or speak up when we observe a risk of harm being perpetuated to others. We can also learn about the resources available to those impacted by sexual violence so that if someone confides in us about an experience, we can listen with care and refer them to the appropriate place for support. The It Takes All of Us training is an online awareness-raising training on sexual violence and consent culture. All students in post-secondary institutions, Vanier included, are required to complete this training once during their educational trajectory. Follow-up workshops and events will be offered throughout the year in order to deepen our understanding of this subject matter, all the while fostering a culture of consent.
As per Law 151, all employees of the college must complete a training that counters sexual violence on an annual basis. The first year of training looks the same for everyone. Your first introductory sexual violence prevention and response training at Vanier will consist of a 4-module online training that takes about 45 minutes to complete, along with a 1.5-hour debrief to dive deeper into the content of the training and look at internal processes and resources. What happens after employees complete their introductory training? Each year, employees will be offered a variety of training topics, delivery methods, and opportunities to contribute to ending sexual and gender-based violence.
Students who are seeking support can reach out to me by sending me a message or by contacting Student Services and asking to speak to the one-stop service. I'm also here to provide support and guidance for any staff member or faculty member who receives a disclosure or a report from a student.
Any and all employees can reach out to the RespectWorks office for confidential guidance and referrals, as well as for reports or complaints of sexual violence. Feel free to check out the links below this video for information and support resources within and outside of Vanier.
For any employee who has questions, concerns, or feedback about the training rollout, or you'd like to discuss alternate ways to complete the training, please feel free to reach out to me directly. On that note, thank you and keep well.